Hi everyone, it's Kevin, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm gonna print Roronoa Zoro from One Piece. I'm on CG Trader, the model is from Nacho Busto. It's pretty cool, I really like this one, I wanted to make it for a long time, so I'm gonna try to print the biggest that I can in the photon and then paint it, so let's go. Okay, so here I have all the pieces in G2Box. I deleted my G2Box file already with all my supports, so I'm just going to show you how I'm scaling the model first. For example, here I have a lot of pieces. I'm just going to check the biggest one and see how far I can go basically. I just want to make sure everything's going to fit. So here I'm checking the bottom of the kimono. It's quite of the biggest one except from the base. Same for the top part here, so I put them on the build plate, I try to find the right angle, and I'm just going to scale up and see how far I can go. Here I'm at around 130% from the original scale. Then I just angle the model because I know I'm going to have to angle when I support. So I'm trying to find my angle, I'm like, okay, that's good to support. And when I move around, I'm like, okay, I can fit on the build plate, so that's good. 130% is quite good. I'm checking the second piece here just to make sure. This one is a tiny bit smaller in the end, so it was good as well. I'm just gonna angle the model just to make sure. And last but not least, I'm checking the base. I'm making sure I can fit as well. And now that it does, I'm like, okay, that's good. Everything left, it's smaller, so that's good. Okay, so all the parts of Zoro are printed. I've cleaned up already, I assembled some of them and I filled the gap as well. So there was a lot of post-process, but not super complicated. Let's see what I have. Okay, so first the base. I didn't put enough support at the start, so there was a lot of moving, shifting probably and pulling on the resin, so it's quite ugly at the back. I've just sanded roughly and I'm just going to leave it like this, it's okay. It's at the back, I don't really mind. Here for the bottom part, I took the robe and the 2 feet and I've assembled together and I filled some of the gap in between. The way I'm gonna go for it, I'm gonna have one bottom part and one top part and I'm gonna assemble at the end. So here if you take the second part of Zoro, so the top part, I have my head, the 2 arms glued already and the torso on the kind of vest here. So all of this is gonna be one part going on top of the other, and at the end of the day here the fit is pretty nice. A lot of it is like over the first one, so it's gonna be easy to assemble at the end. I'm not gonna have to fill any gap, so it's good for painting and it's good for assembling. Okay, so let's go with the base coat. The first coat that I had over the white was a bit too bright, so I went back with darker green and try to rebase coat everything. Here I'm giving some volume with the dry brushing. I want to keep the style of the anime, which is really dark green with desaturate highlight over. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not really happy with the result. The recesses are still a bit bright. So I'm just gonna go back and redo it again and again just to make sure like the volume is right and the color as well. And after a while I'm pretty happy with it. So now I'm switching back on the skin. I'm choosing a really dark and really like rich red base coat. I want a lot of contrast. A lot of the time I kind of start a bit too bright and after all the highlight everything is a bit toned down. So I have my really dark base coat and I'm just gonna dry brush over with a lot of steps, maybe like, I don't know, 6 to 8. You just brighten your color slowly and try to get the result that you want. So I'm just going over. I'm taking a smaller dry brush as well to go in between because around the arm it was a bit of a pain. And when I dry brush over and over, I try to focus more and more on top of the model, like the top shoulders, pectoral and stuff. After that, I'm going back on the kimono. Everything was a bit toned down compared to the contrast of the skin, so I'm just adding a bit more color and a bit more highlight on top of the fold line. There is a lot of texture on the model, which is cool, and I wanted to make this komodo like come to life, so I went ahead and I highlighted every like single line almost, and I'm like, okay, let's give all the texture popping back, and it's gonna take me a while, but that's okay. I'm just gonna go for it. In the end, I think it was really worth it. After a while, I'm back on the skin. Here I'm going with a bright color, and I'm just kind of smoothing and redefining some of the volume. So for example, here I'm just going on top of the abs, and I'm just trying to do the top highlight again and trying to refine everything a tiny bit. Here I'm on this belt going around the kimono, the red one. So I'm just base coating with like a kind of darker red. And then I'm just gonna go really simple. I'm not gonna bother too much. I'm gonna put dark red in the recess and bright red on the top line of the folding. So I'm wet blending a little bit in between just to make it kind of nice. I don't want something really bad, but I'm just going for a really simple technique, just highlighting the top, and everything come out pretty nicely. I was happy with it. I had to take some shortcut as well, like I spent a long time on the green kimono, so then on smaller parts you kind of compromise a little bit. Here I'm just putting my base coat on the center belt and the hair. And so this part, the green part, I've done the same as the red belt, darker gray, darker green in the recess and brighter on the top of the folding line. I have a good contrast here, good color. I'm happy with the result. Then I'm doing some edge highlighting in between those seams here and make everything pop. So that's really good. That was really simple to do, and the render is great. For the hair, I've done the base coat, and then I'm like, okay, let's wash all this mess. It's gonna be a bit hard to do, so I started with a wash. Here I'm dry brushing over, just for the start, just to give some volume, and then I highlighted every single hair, edge highlight. I had no choice, and it was the best way to make it pop as well, so it was worth it as well, to just take your time and edge highlight everything. I'm doing the bandana quickly, just black and some like highlighting green to keep the same kind of color as the anime. Now for the katana, there is nothing special at all. I just kind of base coated everything and added the color that I wanted. I'm just gonna add a little bit of wash for the red katana here, but everything else, it was one black katana and one kind of brownish color, so I just left everything as it was. Here I'm doing the white part of the face. I started with a bone color, so for the teeth and the eye, and then I brighten everything with pure white slowly. I'm doing the eye. I can't really tell on camera if I get it or not, but I was really focused. I didn't want to mess up. And for the last part of the katana here, I'm doing the gold. Everything has gold around, but in the anime there is this kind of really pale yellow. So I've base coated everything with this color, and then I'm just gonna glaze gold over. So I took my bright gold and I diluted with a lot of water, and I'm just glazing over just to give a bit of reflection. And I'm happy with the effect. That's kind of what I was looking for here. I didn't want just to use only metallic paint and have a weird gold around. So it was good. Here I'm doing the katana, the one on the back, trying to do the Amon line on the blade here. And for the end, I had all my base to do. so I'm just gonna speed up. I've tried to do some wood grain around the rim here. I had no idea what I was doing. I just did a bunch of lines hoping to get the effect, and in the end it's okay. It's not like perfect, but it's fine. So happy with the base, just simple stuff. Some wash here over the rocks, some dry brush over just to highlight. The trick is just to get the right color and the right brightness, and the effect is always pretty cool. And here we have it, I'm finished painting Zoro, so this one is pretty cool. I'm really happy with the result. I think the figurine is looking pretty nice. I wanted to spend more time, but you know, always stuff to do in between with life, other projects, so I've got it done. I'm still really happy the way everything came out. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe and see you next time. Bye.